Now, the government is meeting some of the world's biggest internet firms this week to discuss how to crack down on harmful material online. But is a clampdown on extremist material necessary to protect us from future attacks, or a slippery slope towards censorship on the web? Well, I'm joined now by Adrian Kennard, Managing Director of the internet service provider Andrews and Arnold, and former police officer Jonathan Taylor. Good afternoon to you both. Thanks very much for coming in. Adrian, set out your stall. I think I know what it'll be, but tell us what you think.
Well, as an internet provider, our job is to provide communications to shift packets. We shouldn't really be looking at the content, and asking us to filter content, it isn't going to be very effective. It's so easy for anyone to get around it, as we've seen with things like the Pirate Bay blocks that have been ordered. There are hundreds of other alternative names and mirrors for that. So
the obvious question then, if you're not filtering it, if you're not providing that service, who should be? Should
we be filtering extreme views? I don't know. It's a slippery slope. We live in a society with free speech. It's a cornerstone of a free and democratic society.
You believe
filtering
people
is bad.
should be able? Do you believe that people should be able to post whatever they like on a service that is available to anybody?
There are things that are illegal, and as I'm sure this gentleman knows very well with his work with child abuse images, there are things that are illegal. Those should be taken down at source. It's not really a filtering job.
Okay. Jonathan, what do you think?
Yeah, ISPs, search engines, they all have a responsibility. You can't just say, well, we provide a service, and part of that service is not regulating what is actually put up there or what people can have access to. So I think there's a responsibility, but Adrian's quite right. It's not just about the ISPs, which is what we're not really talking about. ISPs, search engines, certainly have a responsibility to make sure individuals either can't access deliberately or can't come across extremist-type sites by accident.
Yes, I mean, that strikes, and I'm sure it'll be talked about with the Home Secretary. There's a big difference between searching for material, whether we're talking about child pornography online or terrorist material online. A big difference, Adrian, searching for it and stumbling across it when you weren't looking for it. Is there something that people like you should be doing to make that line clearer?
Well, our position as an ISP, we don't control the search engines. So if Google want to change the way they present information about sites like this, then that may have an effect to stop people stumbling across it. They already have safe search options,
yes,
and there's already parental controls on PCs that can help avoid stumbling across things. But trying to filter it so that you can't find it if you want, the information's out there, it will be found.
The police forces across the country are becoming far more savvy, aren't they, Jonathan, about the use of the internet in terrorism, in pornography, in child abuse. But it seems the way that one step forward for the police forces, and then those committing criminal acts online or potentially wanting to move a step forward again. It's a big chase.
I totally agree, and whilst I said ISPs and search engines have a responsibility, what we must look at is what law enforcement's role is here. Now, we have Peter Davis saying they can identify 60,000 individuals who are using the internet to access indecent images of children, whether you've got Bridger and Hazel. Well, that software's been around for 6 years, but the law enforcement aren't really using it to the best capability.
Okay.
So really they should be looking at it. This is a role for everybody, from ISPs to search engines, to law enforcement, but also down to educating parents on how to protect their children online.
And I guess, Adrian, going along with what you're saying, I'm sure you know about what YouTube are currently involved in, this traffic light system for things that people post themselves. Is that what you would like to see more of? That self-censorship, saying, OK, this gets a green light, you can show it to your kids.
That sounds like a good idea. Obviously, if content is actually illegal, they have some responsibility when they're hosting it. That's not quite the same as an internet service provider. If you're actually providing the hosting for something illegal, then you need to work with the police to address that. But a traffic light to warn people, that's a very good idea, yes.
What would you like to hear from the Home Secretary this week? There is no easy fix, is there? There is no one soundbite that she will be able to come and give us after the meeting to say, this is the way forward.
I'm not sure. I'm concerned that they're talking about forcing ISPs to do this. That suggests that ISPs will be told that if they don't do something, there might be legislation. that creates the sort of block lists we already have for adult content filtering on pay-as-you-go mobiles, where sites can be overblocked. And site operators don't know they've been blocked when they find out they've got no appeals. And this is sites that shouldn't be blocked. They aren't adult content.
Well,
it's
why
far
are
too
they?
easy to happen.
They're just the wrong words being typed in.
It can be automated classifications based on keywords. It can just be mistakes. But there's no checks and balances. So the only way to do it properly is to use legislation. But legislating for state-mandated censorship of the internet, that's not a road we want to go down. Otherwise, the terrorists really have one.
I do agree with that. What I would like to see to come out of this week is not enough people know what individual companies can do. So what can ISPs do? What can search engines do? What can law enforcement do? What can education do? And what can parents and their children do? So what they should come out of it is, right, what actually can you do to assist in either filtering or blocking, or actually assisting to stop accidental access. So let's really understand by the end of the week, what can these different agencies and companies actually do?
I guess from a law enforcement perspective as well, that actually having them there is a tool. If they weren't there, they would be elsewhere talking about these things.
Yes, to a degree, I do agree with that. However, there's not enough proactive work being carried out by law enforcement anywhere really in the world, Lorna. That is the big issue we've got. Yes, we know where they can be, we can go and find them, but at the moment, if we don't actually have the logistical ammunition and for people in place to actually police this, we're going to be fighting this losing battle.
Adrian, is there, just as a final thought, I mean, we're talking about it happening in this country. Of course, the internet is global. The service that's provided by any one of these websites is potentially global. Has there been a difference in, as more countries, Pakistan, Somalia, Yemen, those sorts of countries become more involved in social media and the internet, that there has been an increase in providers or in sites in areas where there is more talked about in terms of terrorism, there is more child pornography online? Is it possible to gauge?
I don't really have an answer for that. No. One of the recent comments about people stumbling across child pornography seem to be unbelievably exaggerated statistics. I've never stumbled across terrorist sites or child pornography, of course. Yes, I've been in the internet industry for decades, okay. So I think that the scale of the problem's exaggerated before you start. And we need real understanding of that, especially for things like terrorist sites.
Very interesting. Well, we'll see what comes out of this meeting this week. Adrian Kennard and Jonathan Taylor, thank you for discussing it with us.
Thank you.
Coming up in just a moment, we've got the sport film.